Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kelvis Podcast. I got Miss Krystal Hines in the studio with me, and y'all, I have to tell you, it's crazy to come to find out that I work with her sister, and I know her sister, and it's like I was like, wow. And somebody plays at your church the guitar, as I know Nick also
Uh-huh.
worked with previously. So I was like,
Small world.
it's like wow, like oh my God, okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to my audience.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am Krystal Hines.
Mhm.
I'm a mother of two beautiful teenagers.
Okay.
By profession, I'm a manager in healthcare.
Okay.
I love to sing, been doing so ever since I could literally talk. My
Right.
mom had me on a microphone.
Right.
So, singing, I love doing my own hair, makeup, those types of hobbies and things
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how old are your kids?
They are 15, soon to be 16, and 17.
So your
So
son,
I have 2 children. My
right?
daughter's 15, she's about to be 16,
And your
and
son.
my son is 17.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me how the experience of being a young black woman raising two beautiful kids. What has that journey been like for you?
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it has been quite interesting.
Hmm.
I'm very grateful that my mother was there with
Right.
me while they were younger.
Hmm.
She did pass away 2 years ago,
Yeah.
but she
My
was there
condolences.
with me, and that really helped to a lot of people say my kids have old souls,
Right.
and I know it's a lot has to do with my mom being there.
Right.
So it just has been I had to get really mature fast,
Hmm.
I will say,
Right.
while a lot of other early 20-year-olds might have been out and just living their lives. I had to go ahead and tap into being a mother, providing for my children, creating a safe environment
Right.
for them, and just matured pretty fast in that area. But it's
Okay.
been great by the grace of God.
Right.
And here we are. It's
Yeah.
mind blowing. I have a rising junior and a rising senior.
Wow, that's incredible. That's
Yes.
incredible. So you know the saying it takes a village to raise a kid. So no, you speak of your mother as being a major influencer in that village to help you raising your kids. So who else played a major part? Was there any men influential in your son and your daughter life? Because as we all know, that male figure in their life is very important. I would say for both, because a lot of people say just for the daughter, but I think for
Mhm.
a male growing up myself without my father active in my life, it's
Yeah.
very important for both.
Most definitely, yeah. I would say my brother, which is their uncle,
Hmm.
pastors of churches that we've been in,
Hmm.
and most importantly, especially for my son, his coaches. He plays basketball, and so
Yeah.
he's had some really instrumental men in his life
Right.
that were great role models, I would say.
Right.
So we've been blessed in that regard.
Okay. Okay. So this question always been brought forth. Do you think as a mother raising a boy, what was that experience? Because a lot of women say I can raise a boy,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, and I don't need a father. That's been said. I mean, you got a daughter, so obviously, as a woman, you have
Right, right,
been
right.
relate to your daughter. But how's that experience of being a mother raising a young man? And I understand you had your brother, which is an uncle and
Right.
other man, but as just a mother, how's that experience? And what do you feel when people say that a mother can do just as good of a job as a father raising a kid?
Oh, I totally disagree. I am a woman. I will forever be a woman. There
Yeah.
are things that I will never be able to teach my son
Right.
that a man would have been able to teach him.
Right.
But I've just allowed him to be the male that he is.
Right.
I heard people say, "Tell him, don't cry or don't do this." I've
Wow.
just let him mature into the young man that he is organically.
Right.
But I could never be a man. I
Right.
mean, for him.
Right.
So men are definitely needed in the home. But we've just been very fortunate.
Right.
He's a solid young man.
Yeah, I seen some of the videos on your Facebook page. I took a
Yeah.
little peek in there and I seen him his prom picture. Matter of fact, he's got my Sigma blue on here. You got the
Okay.
blue on
Okay.
tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
You came in here right tonight.
I didn't
You
even
got the
know.
memo.
I
No,
didn't
you
even.
got the memo. You know blue where it was
I
at.
didn't even know.
And then I seen your son with his blue. He had a blue jacket and
Yeah,
the
he
whole nine. I
did.
said, yeah,
Yeah.
that boy's a future Sigma
Yeah,
there.
he's a
Yeah,
solid young man. I
yeah,
will say I am
yeah,
definitely blessed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I know, like from just what I know of you and heard from my research that you've been a solid mother and a young black woman, and
Thank you so
and
much.
and in the community. You definitely in the community out here doing some great things. But I want to go back to a point that I think is very important that you spoke about um, when you spoke about a young boy and sharing their feelings, because it's ironic that today I was talking to someone about when I grew up. It was kind of in my community, my village, and my blueprint. young boys wouldn't talk to crowd, share their
Mhm.
feelings. It's told you suck it up, you're a boy, you're a young man, or you're a
Right.
man. But I think that over time, men now, and I was just recently looking at a podcast where that had a major effect, and women wonder why men hold things in because it's based on
Mhm.
our blueprint.
Yeah.
So if you don't understand that, then you're missing a part of understand in the relationship dynamics of a man not being able to fully express himself. And I'm not using it for excuse. I'm just saying when it's culturally based,
Mhm.
what I'm saying, that you taught not to share your feelings, kind of hard. Takes time is another word
Yes,
I would
most
say
definitely.
to overcome that. At 50, it's took me a while
Right.
to be able to be a better communicator as a man in relationship, marriage, and the whole nine.
Right.
So, what is your thoughts on that?
I really I agree with you once again. If you're taught as a child that you're not supposed to cry,
Hmm.
that you're not supposed to be sensitive,
Hmm.
it's definitely going to affect you as you get older and you become a man. I feel that that's why a lot of men shut down in relationships. They're not used to opening
Right.
up. They're not used to being vulnerable. They're
Right.
not
Yeah,
used
that's
to
true.
being emotional.
Right.
People may say that they're too feminine.
Right. That's
But
true.
you have to have those capabilities, even
Yeah.
in a relationship, to be able to be vulnerable and to
Hmm.
be transparent. So I think it's important from a child that we raise our young boys and our men
Hmm.
to just be themselves. And it doesn't make you feminine. It doesn't make you less
That's true.
masculine. You have to
That's
tap into your
right.
emotions.
So, I'm gonna take my glasses off for a minute here. So, being that you're how old, if you don't mind saying your
I'm
age?
41.
41. That's right. I had it in my notes anyway, in case you didn't want to tell us. Um, so, looking back over your life and the relationships you've been in and knowing what you just said, have that always been in a critical part of your mind, your process when you're dealing with a man and you felt like that he wasn't a great communicator, that understanding his background or his culture or just men in general have been taught that based on their blueprint? How have that affected your relationship and how have you dealt with it?
I don't think that I have equated men that were maybe not tapped into their emotions, uh, saying that it dealt with how they were raised. Now I can say that,
Oh,
but
okay.
before I think I would just lend it to people saying that, oh, men don't talk a lot. So
Right.
men don't. So you kind of hear that and
Yeah.
you kind of expect that. That's just kind of like what people say about you
Right.
all.
Yeah.
Men don't talk a lot.
Yeah.
If he comes home, he's not going to open up. So when
Yeah.
you find one that communicates, it's like, oh wow, you
Yeah.
you can talk. You're different.
Oh, that's what it is?
That's what it is.
So I understand in looking at your profile, you like emotional, intelligent man.
Oh, most definitely.
So what define that?
Oh, wow. You're gonna put I have to put a definition on
In
it?
your own words. I want to know what your definition of
Sure,
that.
sure. I guess I would say someone that is just able to express themselves,
Uh-huh.
someone that feels comfortable with me enough to be transparent when
Right.
they're sad, when they're happy, when they're mad, because I'm the type of woman. I wouldn't hold that against my man. I
Mm,
actually would want you to feel comfortable being vulnerable with me. So I try to
mm.
set an environment that he feels comfortable if he needs to cry or if he needs to express himself in some way. So I need the man to be able to do that because if we're going to be honest,
Right.
we have to be able to be vulnerable and intelligent in that aspect, I would say. Does
Okay.
that work?
Yeah. So but at what age did you in the dating process in relationships in the
Mhm.
past did you come to this um thought process or this what you were speaking of now it's not always been this at what age you would say that you came to okay this is an understanding of I want an emotionally intelligent man that's willing to share his feelings willing to be vulnerable to me at what age did you really it really solidify with you?
I would say in the more recent years, within the
Okay.
last 2 to 3 years,
Okay.
as I've matured myself and as I've really been serious about marriage, I
Okay.
understand that you're going to need a man that's emotionally intelligent to
Right.
be your husband.
Okay.
So I think it's just more recent as
More
I've
recent.
matured as well.
Okay, that's what's up. So on your platform, I think it speaks as a influencer and motivator, and especially you like to definitely uplift the power of black women or women, period. Speak about that.
Oh, sure. I guess with me, I didn't always have, obviously, the wisdom and
Mhm.
knowledge that I have now.
Right.
And so I feel like if I would have been this knowledgeable
Right.
10, 20 years ago,
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't have made some of the decisions I made. And I probably would be a lot further along than
Right.
I
I think that's
am.
all of us. Yeah.
So, but everything happens for a reason. And
Right.
so I try to speak to that single ladies and kind
Yeah.
of warn them or, give them advice. And it seems to really help a lot of women. I have gotten countless messages of women saying how much I've helped them,
Mhm.
and they've actually wanted to reach out to me personally for
Wow,
some
that's
more advice.
amazing.
So I'm happy that I'm actually able to open up, but it took a little while to get here. You
Yeah.
have to know your worth in order to be able to speak on something like that.
Right. So let me pose this question to you. So I'm gonna put my glasses back
Okay,
on.
put
You
your
know what I'm saying?
glasses
No, you know what
on.
I'm saying? I'm gonna get your little education on.
Go
You know what I'm
ahead. Go
saying?
ahead.
So now, when you speak about that, what would your advice be to a woman in their 50s, obviously a little bit older than
Mhm.
you is, and what the dating scene is currently like? What would you be your advice? Not only say a woman of 50, but I would say a woman in their 40s going into their 50s that are looking for a mate. What would be your advice to them?
Oh, wow. So how would I tell them how the dating scene is
Yeah, yeah.
currently?
Currently, what's the dating scene currently?
Well, most people say that the dating pool has pee in it,
Yeah,
but I'm not
I
gonna.
heard that yesterday from RJ.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah, that's
yeah,
what they say.
yeah,
But I'm not gonna subscribe to that. I
yeah.
think it's which part are you swimming in?
Right.
So, hey, that's something that you have to take, a look at yourself. Which part are you swimming in?
Yeah.
But I really feel that discernment is really
Ooh,
important to have
mm,
in this day and age of
ooh. You
dating.
talking right now?
Because I'm telling you
Right.
up front, everyone looks good on paper. Everyone looks good when you first meet them,
Right.
but that is usually the representative.
Mhm.
It takes time to get to know people. So I
Yeah.
would say have patience,
Hmm.
use discernment, and not be so eager to get in a relationship. Because when you do that,
Hmm.
you really block a lot of red flags
Right.
that are present in the beginning, but you
Right.
don't see them as red because you're ready to get in a relationship.
I think that goes for men too when it comes to women. If
Oh,
you,
most
yeah,
definitely.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Y'all got some flags. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can, yeah.
I just want to say, I just want to put that on the
I
record.
mean, go
You know what I'm
ahead, put it
saying?
on the
On the record,
record.
because
It's
you
the
know what I'm
truth.
saying? I got to defend the man's over here. You know what I'm saying?
It's the truth. No,
It's
you're
it's
right.
it's true on both aspects of the dating game. Um, so how do you feel about the dating apps out here, like dating apps, dating sites, and stuff like that? What's been your experience with that?
Well, I've used them before. I've tried them out. No luck. But I
Right.
have heard of a lot of people that have found their spouses on the dating apps.
Okay.
One thing that a lady that I know, she said that the ones that you need to get on are the ones that you have to pay for. Because if a man has to pay for a subscription, he's
Mhm.
probably going to be more serious about finding
Right.
love than those that can just browse for free.
Yeah.
And so I just think you have to weed them out the same way that a woman would weed out a man that she meets at Food Line or the
Mhm.
grocery store
Yeah.
is the same way you have to weed them out on a dating app.
Okay. Now I want to go back and touch on something you said, and Miss Brooke was here last night,
Mhm.
and she talked about she want a man that's God fearing, and I know you in church, you worship leader, so I
Yeah.
got your background. You're saying so. How is it for a woman that's in the church out here now dating? Because you have to attend with so many emotions and discernment, and being a Christian woman. What is that like for you?
As far as
Dating, and you're a worship leader, you in the church,
mhm,
I seen you singing, you in the worship service and
right.
all that. So what is that like dating now? And I know you have your God fearing woman and all that. So what are
Right.
your
Okay.
desires in dating
Okay. Yeah.
someone being in the church,
Well, I think
and
it the
especially being a leader?
yeah, I think the standards. I think if you're in church and you're dating in church, your standards should be differently than those of people in the world.
Hmm.
Because if you're dating in the church, I always say that you should date to marry. So you're really not out here wasting your time just out here just dating willy nilly. So your standards and preferences have to be on point, especially your standards.
Hmm.
So for me, it's really just making sure that I meet men that aren't here to play games. Like I've found now that it's really important to find out what is your end goal, like asking that up
Ooh,
front.
I think I asked
Because
you that earlier.
you,
I
because
think
you
I asked
can
you.
waste your time.
Right.
You really can waste your time. So I think it's just being upfront with your desires and not staying in the wrong place too long.
Hmm. So when you said the standard for someone that's in the church
Mhm.
is different than someone that's not in the church. But you said, taking that time to get to know someone, and all that. What is the difference then? Because if a woman's in not a church leader, not in the ministry like Brooke and yourself
Mhm.
in those leadership role, wouldn't it be the same?
Yes, yes, that would be the same. Yes, I would advise a woman, even if whether she's a Christian woman or whatever her religion is. I
Okay.
mean, definitely those things that I stated before are still important.
Mm.
Taking your time, still having discernment. Some people would call it a gut feeling.
Right.
I mean, you
Yeah,
need to
true.
tap into all that no
Yeah.
matter what.
And men have gut feelings, by the
Men
way.
do too, but
Yeah,
y'all
because I
probably
just want.
ignore it more.
I don't know about that. I'm
You
not
don't
gonna.
think so?
No, because I kind of halfway. I'll come back. I'll give you some wiggle room there because I think, in my life personally, I've had those, as you say, gut feelings or
Hmm.
discernment about something, and I overlooked them or
Yeah,
I seen it, but because I love the person, that's where I wanted to be.
yeah.
I overlooked those red
We have
flags. So
we've all
we all
done that.
so
Yeah,
I can agree with you on that
yeah,
right there.
yeah.
So so you said something in there that triggered me. You said, and I think that you said something very important that you have to be approachable.
Oh yeah,
You
most definitely.
can't walk around with a mean
You
face
can.
or give that vibe out that you're not approachable.
Yeah, that's right.
Now let me ask you this question now. So if you saw, me in the store and you see me, I'm in the Walmart aisle and you see me, it's like, okay, the sexy gray hair, the blue glasses, and he's out. So would you, if you like what you seen and we made contact, would you
Mhm.
come over and say hello to me
If
in the
I
situation?
Okay, yeah,
It's a
yeah, we got it. This is scenario
Yeah,
based. I think smiling, like passing by you
yeah,
and smiling
yeah.
and saying hello, definitely is an easy way to
Right,
express a little interest
right. Okay,
easily.
okay.
Yeah,
Because a lot of women's, some women don't feel like um, it's a woman's job to approach the men and kind of
yeah,
get that spot going. They want the guy to make the first move. And I mean, some people background and
yeah.
culturally that's their thing. But I think that if you like what you see, then why not say hello?
Most definitely.
You know what I'm
See,
saying?
I can
You know what I'm
stay on
saying? I
this
mean,
little topic forever right
yeah, like
here.
what I'm saying. You see these sexy glasses on and everything. And I children on like this right here.
Not tilt it down like
Tilt
that.
them down like that right there and give you that look like, hey, hey, what's up?
Yeah, cause see,
Yeah,
like we were saying kind
yeah,
of earlier, you hear a lot, men are afraid of rejection,
right.
women are afraid of we're all
That's
afraid of
Yeah, that's true. That's
rejection.
very true.
So why not make it a little easier for the man to approach you by
Mhm.
showing him that you're approachable?
Right,
Smile, compliment him. Hey, I like your blazer.
right.
That's a nice blazer. Where'd you get
Yeah.
that? Or I like your watch. Or
Oh, thank
I
you.
like
Yeah,
those. I like those
this is my bottle.
frames.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
nice.
I like those frames. And
Yeah,
then he's like, oh, okay. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So one of the issues is women aren't on the radar of men that they would want to holler at them.
Right.
So that's a great way to get on their radar.
Now let me ask you this question because there's been a lot of viral videos in the last, I'll say, the last couple years, especially recently, in women saying, that, I can't go to Cheesecake Factory, I can't go to Applebee's on the first date, and
Oh
I
yeah,
need
I've
all
seen
these
those.
things. So what are your thoughts about that? Do a man have to be a 6-figure guy to for you to get to know? I mean,
Right.
what are your thoughts? And a lot of these women say, I got to make 6 figures, or he's got
Right.
to make all this money to
Yeah.
date you.
I think that is just insane what they're saying about the date, the place that you go for a date. I think even in the beginning, you can go for a coffee date. You
Right.
can go for brunch somewhere.
Hmm.
I don't know why these women think these men have to spend $500 on a bill. They're probably not even going to call you the next day.
Right.
Like, can he get to know you and see if he likes you
Right.
first?
That's true.
So I don't subscribe to that. That you can't go to the Cheesecake Factory or Applebee's.
Right.
But that's the maturity in me. Not all women think that way.
That's true.
I think as it comes to how much a man should make a year, yeah, I've heard a lot of women say 6-figure men.
Right.
They say the three sixes. We don't have to get into that. But yeah, I don't necessarily, he does not have to make that. I think it's just about how he manages his money.
So wait a minute though. Say that part one more time because I say that part that you said the 6 figure. Is that what you said just now?
That's what you asked me.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. And I thought you said something else there for a minute.
I did. I said there were the three sixes that women talk
The
about.
3 6s.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm
Okay. Okay. I'm not going. Hey, I heard you the first time. You don't want to get into it, but I'm about to do some. I never heard that before.
Oh yeah, there's three of them that they say they want their man to have.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna do some investing. I'm gonna have my people look into that.
Okay.
Yeah, wow.
Mhm.
The 3 6s. Okay, that's the first time I heard that.
When you
Okay.
find out, let me know.
Okay, I definitely will. I definitely will. I'm gonna look into that ASAP.
Yeah, that's what they say.
So, but you think about it though. What if a man is six figures and he has everything? What are you? My question is, a lot of guys ask, what are you bringing to the table? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If I'm able to pay my own bills, I got my own house, I got my own career.
Right.
What are you able to enhance? Because I think in relationships, and I said this on one of my podcasts, matter of fact, with Jessica, um, if you're not able to learn and grow together, then what's
Mhm.
the point of being? I feel like that about friendship too. If we're not able to share
Right.
knowledge about investments or a opportunity or something that can enhance your life, enhance my life, then what are we doing? You know,
Yeah.
this endless conversation. We all got bills. We can complain
Right.
every day about car payment, car insurance, the inflation, the groceries.
Right.
But what are we sharing that's going to motivate each other to continue to grow as people or in any type of relationship?
Right.
So the question still stands as if you're a six-figure guy,
Right.
what are you bringing to the table?
Well, from what I've heard from speaking to other gentlemen, money isn't even really what a man that is a
Right, and
six figure man
I'm
is
not,
looking for,
yeah,
right?
right,
So a lot of women are out here, and there's nothing wrong with getting the bag. Like we
right,
talked about
right,
earlier, hey, if you're a single woman, you may have kids or you just want to go and do your thing. But a lot of men aren't even looking that are that type of value men. Let's be specific.
okay,
They're really not looking for the money value that a woman
right.
brings.
That's
They're
correct.
looking for the peace. They're looking for
Oh
the
yes,
respect. They're
right.
looking for the
There
honor.
you
They're
go.
looking for, are you able to help take care of the home? Are you able
Right.
to cook? Are you able to,
Yes.
create a peaceful sanctuary when I
Right.
get home from work?
Right.
So it's good that women are out there being boss babes, but what
Right.
else can you bring to the
That's
table?
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
was gonna hit on that because if I'm making six figures, it's not necessarily about the money. Again, it's
Yeah.
about the peace.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Exactly. So that's what I really feel. I mean, I think that's what we need to tap into as women. It's good if you can, bring home the bacon as
Right.
well, but
Right.
you got to bring home the peace as well.
And that leads me into my next point of communication.
Hmm.
Um, what are your thoughts on communication?
You got to be more specific.
So I know you would agree with me. Communication is a major part of any relationship.
Most
Without
definitely.
communication, we talked about that, especially in the beginning when we talked about men, holding a lot of stuff in and not
Hmm.
sharing and just holding the stuff in. But here's the thing about communication, and I tell people all the time, I tell women that I talk to, it's about how you approach, the tactic you use when you're bringing something. And
Oh
let's talk
yeah.
more specifically about if you got an issue in the relationship.
Okay.
How do
I
you
got you.
how do you approach your man so it's not because if you come at me a certain way and I'll use myself, I'm automatically put a fence up and I'm gonna,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And now at 50, if you'd have caught me a couple years ago, I might have been a little more submissive. And
Yeah.
and I can say that word.
Wow.
A little more submissive,
That's
like,
good.
okay, I'm not gonna snap back. I'm kinda I may be a little hot, but I always been kind of quiet. So that is a sense of
Yeah.
submissive. But now at 50, oh no,
Yeah.
sure
They're
you
not going to
coming.
just come to you
Oh
no
yeah,
type of
no,
way,
no,
Kelvis.
sir.
Tell them.
No, sir. You gotta
Yeah.
get you better get, yeah, we better
Yeah.
get into it.
Yeah, it's all about tone. It's all about
Right.
tone. I mean, you can't expect to bring a situation to a man and you're all nagging and all
Ooh.
yapping and think that he's gonna receive it.
Say that one more time for the camera.
You want me to say it to the camera?
No, say it one more
For
time
the
for the
camera.
camera.
You
For the
can't
audience.
for the
Yeah.
audience, you can't bring a situation to a man and you're coming and you're all yapping and expect him to receive it
Right.
well. So it's all about tone. And this comes with experience. This just comes with maturity.
Right.
This comes with studying men. This comes with hearing about different situations.
Mhm.
Wait until he's calm. Like if he's had a busy day from work and he's just getting home, I don't think that would be the perfect time to have the conversation. And I think one of the other important things is if you are trying to talk to a man, if he tells you, not right now, babe, just give me like 30
Right.
minutes,
Right.
a lot of women will still push the issue.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's not going to work for your
Right.
good.
And I say atmosphere. You had to create an atmosphere where it's conducive for both of y'all,
Yeah.
where you can come and talk to in the situation, or you could come talk to me and I
Hmm.
can receive it. And then I can, in that situation, I can be more receptive. And my tone, my response to you is more receptive.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think the atmosphere that you set, I think the woman in a lot of sense set the atmosphere in the house. And I'll say this to clarify. Me and RJ were talking about this just
Mhm.
yesterday. When you play chess, not checkers, when you play chess, the queen is the most powerful piece on the chess table.
Mhm.
Her job is to protect the king.
Okay.
And so a lot of women, I've said this to women before, if you don't understand what that means, you have to look at your life, because it's not saying that you are less valuable, because
Mhm.
you are very valuable, value.
Right.
Um, the most powerful, you look back at history, the most powerful kings got their advice from their woman. They were their counsel behind closed doors.
Mhm.
And they came out and made decisions based on what the intuition of the woman was. And so it goes back to, you got to understand, I don't mean in a male chauvinism way, that you got to understand what your position is with your male. I'm not saying you below, not saying you walk behind him. You are his equal. You are his counsel. You are his peace.
Right.
And so when he comes to you for advice or a listening ear, what you give back to him empowers him. And
Most
so on the chess
definitely.
table, the queen is so powerful.
Mhm.
And so a
Yeah.
lot of women don't understand that.
Yeah. We
You
can
know,
either build you up or tear you down
by the tongue.
by the tongue.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Most
is so true.
definitely.
That
Yeah.
is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I hear a lot of women say, well, especially in their 50s, they some of their greatest fears to grow old by themselves. But then I asked them, like I asked you when you thought it was two different questions, and maybe it
Mhm.
was, what is your end statement is to be in a committed relationship or be married. And like you say, in the
Right.
church, you're dating to, as a leader, you're dating to be married
Right.
in a
Right.
committed relationship. But what is your process to get there? So a process like a SOP, like you work in the health field. I know for a fact you have standard procedures,
Right.
rules,
Right.
document that y'all
Yeah.
follow to get to a certain result.
Right.
So that's the same.
Okay.
People you should have the same similar process. You may not call it. You might not call it SOP. You may not call it a standard operating procedure
Yeah. I
or
understand what you're
document.
saying.
But
You broke it
yeah,
down well.
yeah. But you got to know how you're going to get there. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of women cannot tell me what is your process to get to what you want.
I think what I would say is you have to be intentional
Mhm.
about the decisions that you make, and you have to stay focused on the end goal. So in years past, I said I wanted to get married, but I was dating men that weren't even marriage quality, or I
Mm.
was dating men that didn't want to get married. So how are you going to get to your end goal if you're not even on the right path? So I think you have to know what your end goal is and then be intentional with your choices. That's the issue.
Well, let's talk about accountability.
Mhm.
Let's talk about it. So you said you dated men that did not want to be married, or that was not their goal. Um, so what would you say your accountability in the relationship was? If as you have grown and matured and learned from your mistakes, what if you want to take accountability for
Right.
yourself? Because I think a lot of us don't, including men, we don't take accountability for ourselves. And I'll put context to that. And I've said this more than once. If I had $1 for every woman that I have talked to in my podcast or just in general, and that told me that they was perfect in the marriage or perfect in a relationship,
Right.
or this part right here, he told me I was a good woman. He told me it was his fault. But that's taking that, and I say to men, stop doing it, because what that's doing is telling the woman that you had no fault in this relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you had to take accountability for yourself, what would that look like for you?
Oh, well, back then I didn't know my worth. So
Okay.
it was more so wanting to have someone in my life. So I wasn't really taking the time to really look and see ask those necessary questions,
Okay.
and see if this person was even compatible for me. So I'm literally speaking like decades ago
Right.
as I've matured.
Right.
I think that is an issue of preventing you from getting to your end goal is
Mhm.
not being intentional with who you choose to date is what I'm saying. So
Okay.
I'm telling you,
Okay. Tell me then. Tell
I
me.
wasn't intentional. That's where I messed up. I'm taking accountability to
Okay.
say that I was
Okay.
dating men at that time that didn't even have the same process as me. If I'm a saved woman, I really need to be with the man of God. I had
Ooh,
talked to men
okay.
that weren't even saved.
Okay.
That's me taking accountability for that. So the end goal, if that's my goal, is to get married and to be
Mhm.
with the saved man of God, everything has to line up with the choices that you make today to get to your tomorrow.
So outside of that though,
Outside of that.
Krystal.
Oh, what? I'm
Miss
skipping over
Hines.
something?
No, no, I'm no, this is just dialogue. This is
Oh, I'm
so
making okay.
Miss Hines. So outside of that, what you just said, you have nothing else that you felt like in a relationship that however it lasted, however it ended, you had no other accountability in other words, fault in that relationship.
I mean, of course. No one,
Okay.
like you said earlier, no one is perfect. I mean, I'm
Okay.
sure that we can look at ways and say, oh, I could have talked to him differently.
Okay.
I
That's
could
what
have
I'm saying.
invested
Okay.
in us more.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. I've learned over the years a lot of
Okay.
these things. Yes, most definitely.
Okay. That's what I wanted to get to.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
see what you're trying to do is because y'all men be out there saying that women don't know how to apologize and stuff. So you're trying to see if I'm gonna be able to take accountability. I can do it.
Okay.
I
So are
can
you
do it.
being vulnerable right now?
Am I being vulnerable? Yeah, I'm being
Okay.
transparent.
Okay. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
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 So I got a new book coming out, and in that book I talk about being vulnerable. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of men, and I'll come back to us for a minute. I'm
Mhm.
gonna get off you for a second.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna get off you women
Walking
for
a
a
little
second.
heavy.
Yeah. Well, I'm sexy walking in it. We don't take we're not vulnerable enough, and I think again, we just it's just a cultural um process or your upbringing, or I always like to say the blueprint. And I think more men now are being more vulnerable in this age of social media platforms,
Mhm.
podcasts, stuff. A lot more people, a lot more men are being more vulnerable.
Right.
But here's the thing about it, that always puts fear in men's hearts and
Okay.
minds, is you
Oh yeah.
taking that vulnerability and weaponizing it.
Yeah.
When you get mad, when we get in an argument.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of men are not so open still
Yeah.
to this day. We're growing.
Yeah.
We are growing. And I think as we grow older and we go through life experience, we become more vulnerable and we understand our value and who we are as a man and in the relationships.
Mhm.
But when you use what we give you to weaponize against us,
Yeah.
that that
I've
that
heard that before
that
too.
kills
And
that kills.
and emasculate a man. That's terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah,
women do that unfortunately.
yeah.
So I think that takes, like we said earlier, the man's going to have discernment. I don't think he should just go in and pour in his heart out as soon as he meets the woman.
Right,
You got to vet her and see if
right.
she's trustworthy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So being in the ministry, worship leader. So what are your goals going forward in the ministry? Let's talk about that. Where you're headed.
I would say to really just surrender
Okay.
and be who God has called me to be.
Right.
So whatever that looks like.
Okay.
I mean, I've been singing since I was a little child.
Right.
My grandma, she always told me, she was like, Krystal, you're gonna be a preacher.
Yeah.
So I'm not running after anything. There's people that run after titles.
Right.
I'm not running after anything. I just want to be where God has
Want you
called me to
to be.
be. And that's what I would say. So I
Right.
don't have a specific uh goal to state. I
Right.
just want to make sure that I'm doing what he's called me to do.
So how do you balance being a professional woman in
Mhm.
the healthcare field, raising two beautiful kids, successful kids, and you know, um, being the worship leader and all that?
Mhm.
How do you balance all that?
It definitely is not for the faint of heart
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I really feel like I was saying earlier that I'm graced for it.
Mhm.
The Lord has just really given me grace and favor.
Yeah.
It just takes time management and really just balancing
Right.
everything. When I'm at work, I'm at work. That is what I'm doing. So
Mhm.
then when I'm at church, when I'm with my kids, I think it's just putting everything into its place.
Right. And so in that balance, how did that work in the dating scene for you?
Well, the good thing is with my kids being older, I don't have to call babysitters now.
Right.
So I'm single and ready to mingle.
Oh no,
So
you ain't. You hear that, fella? She is single and ready to mingle. Okay,
It
Miss
it
Blue.
it's no thing now. I mean,
All right.
back in the day, it
Right.
was a little difficult.
Right.
I had to call mama up and say,
Yeah.
"Mom, can you watch
Yeah.
the kids for
Yeah.
me? I want to go somewhere."
Yeah.
But now it's, hey, let's go.
Yeah. That's what's up. So this is one of my signal questions, or a question I ask a lot to
Okay.
people. What is your definition of unconditional love?
Unconditional love. Oh,
Mhm.
that's a good
I know it's
question.
one of my favorite questions.
Ooh, okay. Well, I would say, obviously loving the person without conditions, but that's easily said.
Hmm.
I think that it just comes to a point where you have to put the reason why you begin loving the person at the forefront of all of your decision making. They're gonna make you mad,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
that can't cross out your love for them. They
Right.
may disappoint you,
Yeah.
but just loving them through the good and the bad, the happy and sad, because not every day is going to be perfect. And so just loving and having a forgiving heart, I would
Oh,
say.
yeah, that is so true. Having
Yeah.
a forgiving
Yeah.
heart. Yeah.
And giving them grace and
Yeah.
mercy because
Yeah.
we all
God,
need
hey,
it.
we get it every day. God give it to us
Every
every day. Wake
day.
up.
The
So
woman is gonna mess up, the man is gonna mess
right.
up. So I really think that it goes to that point.
So in this day and time in 2024, What do you feel the church roles in the community?
Um, that's a really good question. The church role in the community.
Mhm.
I would say just well, obviously preaching the gospel, right?
Right,
Getting out of the four walls of the church
right,
because
and
not
evangelizing.
not all the
Yeah,
everybody that comes to church may not be unchurched.
right,
A lot of people that are coming to church have been to church all their lives. So
right.
getting out in the community. And one thing I've learned in most recent years is that you can be in the marketplace and still be a walking Bible. You may be the only Bible someone sees.
Right.
So if it's a woman that's doing makeup or a woman that's doing hair or whatever it is, you can still be ministering to people in the work that you're doing. So I think
Mhm.
being a walking Bible, and gathering as many souls as we can.
Right. Okay. So, what's your next move for is not your personal life, but your career, your profession? What are some goals that you want to attain in the field that you are, or do you want to move into another field at some point?
No, I actually got promoted to the position that I am in now last August.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So I'm still actually, getting acclimated with my role, and so it's there's still some challenges there.
Right.
I think whenever I want to move up is when I'm getting kind of stagnant or
Right.
right before that. So
Right.
I still have a lot to learn. So right now, I'm very pleased with where
So,
I
how
am.
did you get in that? Is that what you went to school for, or what? What's your degree?
Oh,
What's your background,
ooh,
education wise?
school. You want to talk about school?
Let's talk about.
I went to school for biology. I have a
Oh,
degree, a Bachelor of Science in biology,
wow. Okay, smarty pants.
and never used it. And so never used it.
Okay.
I actually was a manager in the fast food restaurant for many years,
Really?
several years.
Okay.
After that, I was going to go to PA school and things like that, but my life shifted, and I became a manager in a fast food restaurant for so many years. And it got to a point where I was like, this is not what I want to do.
Right.
This is not, I want to do something in the medical field. I
Yeah.
made that decision as a single mom to go back to school. I was going to school 5 days a week with two small children
Wow.
for the career that I have now. I was going to the community college back in 2012,
Okay.
and I set for my national exam, got my credentials in 2013, and here we are.
Oh, wow. So that's crazy. So, working in the fast food restaurant, I know that's like really kind of crazy hours and dealing with
Oh yes, yes,
a
most
lot of
definitely.
turnover rate, especially in the fast food
You
business.
said it. 48 hours. I was a single mom
Wow.
working 48 hours a week. I would have to go to work. My babies, I would have to take them to daycare, go
Mhm.
to work, pick them up from daycare. It's time to feed them and go to bed and back
Wow.
and do it again.
Wow.
And that was a lot as a single mom. And
Right.
I really felt like my kids they weren't seeing me enough. They didn't
Right.
have access to me enough. And so I'm so grateful that I made the decision that I made. And people don't understand. They see you now and they're like, oh, they have no clue
Excuse me. Mhm.
what it took to get
Oh
to,
yeah.
where you are today.
Well, I
And so,
understand that. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot of sacrifice to go to
Mhm.
school and get your degree. So I'm definitely so proud of you. And
Thank you,
you've
Kelvis.
done a lot of great things, and I've heard about you.
Thank you so
We
much.
have done our research. I
I
have an
really
inside
appreciate it.
plug on you.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know you did all that
So,
research, but
yeah.
no,
So
thank you so
yeah.
much.
So it's definitely being a single black mom is a hard thing, and I think no matter your race,
Yeah, most definitely.
being a single mom is a hard process, especially when you got kids. And I know my mother was a single mom,
Hmm.
but she had a village, my
Yeah,
grandma and them.
most definitely.
So yeah, my hats off to you.
Thank you
My
so
hats off to you.
much. And we're
So
almost there. We're almost to the finish line. I
yeah,
can't believe it.
right, yeah. So if you had to leave my audience, what words of wisdom? What would it be?
In regards to,
Just life, just being a black female,
mhm,
a leader.
mhm.
What would you leave parting words for them?
I would say for them to find out what they're passionate about. Make sure that they are doing something each day that makes them smile. Taking care of yourself is really important because when we're trying to take care of other people, if we don't take care of ourselves first, you're not going to be equipped to take care of someone else. You have a lot of women that are mothers,
Hmm.
are wives,
Right,
but they're neglecting their own selves.
sure,
So do things that make you happy,
right,
and invest in yourself. I think that is really important. That's something that I've learned to do
right.
over the
That's
years.
very important. You gotta do something for yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah, you got to give back to yourself because a lot of times single moms, single fathers have to include those in there.
Yes.
To give a lot.
Yeah.
and not give back to themselves. So
Most definitely.
wow.
Yeah, that's what I would say. And
Yeah.
just, live life to the best of your ability and
Yeah.
and blossom. Be
Yeah.
who God called you to
Yeah.
be.
Wow. That's some powerful words. I want to
Thank you,
thank you for coming on the
Kelvis.
Kelvis podcast. Let them know what church you go to, where y'all
Sure.
located at.
Yeah, I go to Grace City. My pastor is Pastor Ryan Ford. We're
Okay.
located 2419 Hope Mills Road in Fayetteville, North
Okay.
Carolina.
Right, right. So I'm gonna have to come and check y'all out one
Please
Sunday. So you
do.
might see me out in the audience, come and check y'all
Yeah.
out. So some of that great singing that y'all doing
Come
down there. I
on.
seen some of the video clips and hey man, y'all doing the thing. Y'all
Thank
definitely
you.
singing the word and bringing worship into the church. And I was moved by just watching the clip. I was like, okay, now
Yeah.
okay, they saying up there.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
we're very passionate about the gifts that God has given
Right.
us. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for
Yeah,
that.
and y'all definitely use them. In my hats off to you. So with that said, thank you for tuning in to the Kelvis podcast. Tune in, check us out, subscribe. And with that said, give me that blue 5.
Bye.